Hello everyone, my name is Abby Bliss White and welcome to my channel. It is Friday and we are going to do another Fragrance Friday. This time I have a new Maison Francis Kurkdjian perfume that I have fallen in love with. That is Feminine Pluriel. So I'm going to be doing a little review on this beauty. And then I was also asked if I would share some of my favorites from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is one of my favorite brands and I do have some favorites to share with you. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about my thoughts on Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances and want to see what I have in my collection, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, we're going to start with the newest fragrance to my collection. This is not a new fragrance. This was a fragrance that I fell in love with when I was in Paris, but then it was sold out all throughout Europe, like literally across the board. I stopped into department stores in Paris as well as in London, and I could not get my hands on this Feminine Pluriel, and then of course it made me want it so much more. So when I came home I was so excited to find that Twisted Lily actually sold this fragrance and you still can get it. So as I had mentioned the other day, I have been into very feminine, floral, pretty fragrances, and this fragrance was suggested to me as a signature scent. I want to say, I think it was about 4 years ago. I was in New York. I was dropping my son off at college. He was my oldest. This was my first to fly the coop, and I wanted to get a special perfume to remind me of this huge milestone. And I had actually gone in to buy Maison Francis Kurkdjian Aqua Universal Forte. That is a very fresh, clean fragrance, and I just thought that's the one I want to get from this line. And I not only bought one perfume from Maison Francis Kurkdjian that trip, but I ended up buying two and kind of fell in love with that house. I also had the most amazing experience meeting with a Maison Francis Kurkdjian rep, and he basically led me through the entire collection. I also had my son and daughter with me. It was so incredibly sweet and super informative. He basically supplied us with a bunch of samples to go back to the hotel and wear for a few days and said then come back and purchase, which I really appreciated because he not only gave me samples, but he ended up giving my daughter samples as well as my son. So it was a super special introduction to the line. And the first two perfumes that I bought from Maison Francis Kurkdjian was, that one's a very fresh, clean fragrance. Absolutely love that. But he had also given me a sample of the Baccarat Rouge 540. I could not stop smelling my wrist. So I literally bought one perfume one day and then I had to go back the next day and pick this up because it had that addictive quality to it. And it's been funny because my daughter has been into this fragrance recently, and when I was in Europe you could smell this on so many ladies and it kind of made me re-fall in love with it. I do really like this for myself. Went through a phase of wearing it all the time, and then as you know you move on to other perfumes. But yep, I still love this classic. This to me smells like the best burnt sugar fragrance out there. This one has a presence to it. I definitely can smell it on other people. People have asked me like, oh, are you wearing Baccarat Rouge 540? It has a distinct smell. It has a distinct following, and I find this to be a very special and addictive perfume. The top notes in here are saffron and jasmine. The middle notes are going to be amberwood and ambergris, and then the base notes, it's got fir, resin, and cedar. This is a very warm, woody, floral fragrance, and to me it's got this sort of burnt caramel or burnt sugar smell to it that I find very intoxicating and addictive. And I think this might be his best seller. And I think it's kind of funny because now my daughter is into this fragrance. I think she saw this on TikTok or something and was like, "Do you have this perfume? I think you do." So she's been wearing it, and it's always funny because I definitely can just smell it on others. I will know that she has picked to wear this from rooms away. I can smell it. It has a definite huge cloud like that, and it lasts and lasts on the skin. So of course I have the Baccarat Rouge 540 in my collection. When I was in Paris, I actually got to go into the Maison Francis Kurkdjian store. It was a standalone store, and I just had the best time chatting up with the sales associates, and I totally fell in love with this Feminine Pluriel, and then it was sold out everywhere. So it was so funny because it seemed to be the perfect scent when I was there because it was very warm. They were having a heat wave in Paris, and I had actually put this on as well as Ambrose, which is another one that I hope to get my hands on. This fragrance is a very rich bouquet of florals along with a touch of clean patchouli in here. There's something that makes this fragrance very fresh feeling. So you've got these very kind of intoxicating florals, but something that's going to lift it up just a bit that makes it have kind of that fresh feeling. So when you think about wearing fragrances when it's super hot, you don't necessarily want something super rich in beast mode. You want something that's going to feel slightly clean. This one has a slightly powdery dry down, and it was funny because this fragrance was recommended to me as sort of like this would be your perfect signature scent, and I wasn't so sure about it because at the time I wasn't really into florals. But right now I have just been way into floral fragrances, into super uber feminine fragrances. I can't seem to get enough. And this is what I think about this fragrance, is that it screams femininity from the pretty rose gold cap, little slight pink color in the bottle. It is just gorgeous inside and out. And the dry down of this just makes me feel very pretty, very elegant, and it's got really great longevity too. So I'll put on my perfume at the beginning of the day and I will still smell myself at the end of the day as well. So the florals in here are going to include jasmine, iris, rose, and violet. So a very rich, intoxicating bouquet of flowers. Then it's got a touch of clean patchouli, and patchouli to me can sometimes go a bit earthy, and then there's other where patchouli will feel very like bright and clean, like it will add sort of a cleanness to fragrances, and that's what I would say this one is perfectly balanced. It adds a little brightness, like a little touch of freshness to it. It's got a little bit of woodiness in here with vetiver, and then a slight touch of orange blossom. So I will say that this does come out a bit stronger. I remember trying this back when they recommended to me to be my signature scent, and I thought, you know what, this is pretty, but it feels a bit like strong and out there for me as far as the florals, but now I just can't seem to get enough, and I just love the dry down of this. Again, it's gonna make you feel very feminine, very pretty, very elegant, and I could see why this would be someone's signature scent. So this is my new baby that I'm just in love with. I find it to be perfect for the summer months. You could definitely wear this year round. So if you are looking for a beautiful feminine floral fragrance, I would say with this one you need to like jasmine. That note stands out to me, and it is going to dry down into a slightly powdery, I would say almost a little musky, very elegant floral on the skin. So I can't get enough of this one and wanted to do a little highlight of this fragrance. And then I'm quickly going to just share the other ones that I have and love from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. And the next one is Gentle Fluidity Gold. If you are somebody who loves vanilla-based fragrances, if you do like Baccarat 540, I think you're also going to love Gentle Fluidity Gold. They had launched Gentle Fluidity Gold and Silver at the same time, using the same notes but in a different composition, which was so cool. And they even recommended that you could layer them together. So the notes in here are juniper, nutmeg, coriander, musk, amber, woods, and vanilla. And in the gold version of this fragrance, I find that the vanilla and amber really stand out in this fragrance, and I love both of those notes. In the silver version, I definitely smelled more of the juniper, which to me smelled like gin. And in turn, I had like the worst hangover in college from gin, so I just cannot do gin. So still to this day, I do not like the smell of gin, and found it very interesting that two fragrances with the same notes but in different compositions can smell completely different, because the silver is going to be more dry and again have that kind of gin smell to it. But in the gold version, I definitely smell maybe a touch of the juniper, but I really smell the vanilla, the amber, and the woods. And this one is just a very classy fragrance. I would say adult vanilla, because I know some vanilla fragrances can lean a little bit more like cake or a little bit childish. This would be adult vanilla. This one's definitely classy. It is warm, it is inviting, and this one will also garner you some compliments as well. This one, I tend to get compliments every time I wear that one. So if that's important to you, definitely check out the Gentle Fluidity Gold. Love this one. Then speaking of amber fragrances, one of the best, I think, is from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is Grand Soir. Oh my god, this smells so good. I haven't worn this in a bit. I do think of this as a bit more heavy, and think it's really great in cold weather. Like, oh, this just shines in colder weather. You can totally rock this right now, especially like date night. I feel like this is a very polished fragrance. It is warm and rich. It is sophisticated, so I feel a bit fancy when I am wearing this. This one also sort of reminds me of Biscoff cookies, and again, it's more on the elegant, sophisticated side, but it's got that yummy spice from that cookie in here. That's what it sort of reminds me of a bit. So let me read you the notes. Clearly this is an amber scent by this beautiful amber color right here, but it also has tonka bean, benzoin, labdanum, and amber. And so this is just a very sexy, majestic, very sophisticated fragrance. And if you're a fellow amber fragrance lover, I'm sure you probably already know about this one. This one is known as one of the best ambers out there, for good reason. And I love it because this is definitely a unisex fragrance, but honestly, when it is a little bit cooler out and you've got your warm, cozy cashmere sweater on and you want to feel kind of rich and opulent, I'm going to spray on Grand Soir, and it's just very luxurious. So definitely check this one out. I actually want to spray some on right now. It smells so good, you guys. So definitely recommend this one for date night right now, or definitely for a fall winter fragrance. This is a must-have. And then the last one that I'm head over heels in love with. This one made my eyeballs roll back in my head. We'll see if you can guess. We'll see if you can guess which one it is. It is Oud Satin Mood. This one I call my beast mode fragrance. This is a rich, jammy rose oud fragrance. It's got a big dose of vanilla in here. And this one makes me a bit high when I wear this. a little goes a long way. Like this one, if you spray too much, it can be cloying, so you got to be careful about that. It projects like a beast, or at least on my skin it does. Like this one I call my beast mode fragrance, and I will often just do like one squirt here, there. I may just take a little bit and I will run it through my hair, and I am going to smell like Oud Satin Mood for days. I love the rich jammy rose in here, and then it's got a touch of oud. I would not say the oud in here would be along the lines of beginner oud. That is, sometimes ouds can go a little bit on the fecal side, a little animalic. There's none of that in this Oud Satin Mood. There's just a touch of it in here. Adds some depth to the fragrance. But to me, this literally makes my eyeballs roll back in my head when I smell it. I literally think of it as this jammy vanilla rose that I cannot get enough of. Just love this one, and I don't know if you can see, I've actually worn a lot of this because it is so potent that I don't need a lot of it. And if I had to pick like my absolute favorite from this line, clearly I love many of these, I would probably have to say it is Oud Satin Mood. This is just one that has a huge impact. It makes my eyes roll back in my head. It's just freaking intoxicating and amazing. So I actually find that Oud Satin Mood is more intoxicating than Baccarat Rouge 540, because I know this one gets all the hype, but in my mind when I'm thinking about these two, this one is the more intoxicating one. I really do love this one as well. These are both elegant, these are both sexy, but I love that rose oud combo in here. It is a smooth operator and I just love it. So these are the current ones that I have in my collection right now. I have had some other ones that I've either used the entire bottle, yep, I've actually done that, as well as just given to others when I was done loving on it so much, but wanted to go ahead spotlight my newest addition to my collection because I just fell in love with this fragrance and it's just a true beauty. So this is my overview of those fragrances. Let me know which Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances you own. Which ones do I need to get my nose on? But I'm definitely having a renewed moment with this brand, especially after going to Paris. So I hope you enjoyed this Fragrance Friday, and I will be back with another video soon.